Hello Summoners, and welcome back to another ProGuides video. My name is Dan, and today I'm going to be covering 10 of the latest and most powerful builds that have been rising in popularity in Korean solo queue. Since Season 10 has just started, a lot of you guys have been asking for some new builds to climb with for those free placement match victories. Luckily for you, we have a ton of connections with Korean Challenger, and there are a bunch of builds we want to share with you guys. Also, today's question of the day is, which wacky build have you been having a lot of fun with recently? Mine has got to be Aurelia bot lane with Sejuani support. I think the two are actually quite underrated, and it's super free low against a mobile champs like Jhin or Nami. Let us know all your answers in the comments below. And before we get started, are you always getting ganked? Constantly getting demolished? Don't worry, we got you covered. ProGuides is the #1 proven way to quickly level up your League of Legends skills. Whether you're looking for tier lists, champion guides, coaching, or courses from your favorite pro players, ProGuides is where you're going to find them. Even players like Nightblue, Bunny Fufu, BoxBox, and Loco Doco support ProGuides. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and start improving right now. Alright, with all that being said, let's jump into the video. Starting with the top lane. The first build we'll be covering for the top lane is going to be the Conqueror Kennen. Ever since the removal of Kleptomancy, most Kennen mains have been opting to go either Phase Rush or Summon Aerie. However, on the Korean server, pretty much every pro player who plays him has been going Conqueror instead. I cannot stress this enough, but this rune feels amazing to use, and our analysts are predicting that this will become mainstream within the coming weeks. The healing combined with the bonus damage works super well with this kit, and a lot of opponents will be caught off by how strong this is. On top of that, you'll get to use the rest of the precision tree for other runes like Alacrity, which helps smoothen his laning phase. For runes, you'll go Conqueror, Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace, followed by Domination second for Ravenous Hunter and Taste of Blood. For items, it'll be Hextech Gunblade into Sork Boots, Zanya's, Deathcap, Morello, and Avoid Staff. If you main top lane, then we highly suggest you give this build a try. Next up in the top lane, we have a build for Camille, which is being played by the innovator himself, Nuguri. For those who are unaware, Nuguri was a rising star during the 2019 World Championships due to his Kleptomancy build single-handedly shifting the world's meta. However, since Klepto did get removed, Nuguri has been testing the waters with some innovative builds such as Omnistone Camille. One of the main reasons why Omnistone works so well on Camille is because she can proc almost every rune in the game with ease. In fact, runes like Conqueror, Fleet, PTA, Electrocute, Aftershock, Glacial Augment, Predator, Dark Harvest, Aerie, Comet, Phase Rush all work really well with her. For runes, you'll go Omnistone, Stopwatch, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight, followed by Domination Secondary for Relentless Hunter and Taste of Blood. And yes, you heard that right. Nuguri takes Relentless Hunter in the top lane, which might seem strange at first, but it actually makes perfect sense. If you want to know more about why Korean pro players take this rune on solo laners, then check out our previous video, which covers some underrated runes that only Koreans abuse. The link will be in the description. Here's a quick recap of all the builds we have for the top lane. Alright, now on to the jungle. The first build we'll be mentioning for the jungle is Qiyana. Generally, when you see this champion being played in the jungle, you'll see either Electrocute or Dark Harvest being used on her. However, on the Korean server, a lot of pro players have been opting to go Predator or Hail of Blades instead. Notable pro players like Damwon Gaming's jungler Canyon has been using Predator pretty much every time due to the increased gank potential of this rune. If you're running at them really fast with your water element weapon, then the chances of them surviving are really slim. For runes, you'll take Predator, Sudden Impact, Zombie Ward, Ingenious Hunter, followed by Inspiration second for Stopwatch and Cosmic Insight. For items, you'll go Red Smite Warriors, Moby Boots, Umbral Glaive, Yomu's Ghostblade, Edge of Night, and a Last Whisper. And for the Hail of Blade setup, everything will be the same except you take Hail instead of Predator, Ravenous Hunter instead of Ingenious Hunter, and Free Boots instead of Stopwatch. This setup has been used by one of the best, if not the best jungler in the world, Griffin Tarzan, so make sure to give both a try. Next up in the jungle, we have a build for Shyvana. Shiv did receive some massive buffs at the start of this patch, which allows her ultimate CD to be lowered by Cloud Drakes as well as buffing her ease on hit damage. Both these buffs have shifted the way you play the traditional AP Shyvana jungle build, and the biggest change is to the runes. Firstly, instead of the standard Comet or Dark Harvest route for a Keystone, a lot of Korean junglers have been opting to go Conqueror instead. This is mainly due to the buffs made on her E synergizing with the Conqueror rune and items like Nashor's Tooth. The full rune setup is Conqueror, Triumph, Alacrity, Last Stand, followed by Domination second for Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter. For items, you'll go Red Smite Runic Echoes, Sork Boots, Nashor's, Leandries, Morello, and a Death Cap. With this setup, you'll have burst with your E to do tons of damage in a team fight, while also being able to 1v1 anyone on the other team. Here's a quick recap of all the builds for jungle. Now, let's run it down mid. First up in the mid lane, we have a build for Corki. Corki received a gigantic buff at the start of patch 10.1, which increased the damage of his ultimate missiles. The buff flew past most people's radars because 20 damage doesn't seem like all that much. However, since this is his most spammable ability, that 20 damage adds up to become hundreds extra per fight. For patch 10.1, Koreans have been testing the waters with a more burst-heavy Corki build, which involves taking Storm Razor and not building Essence Reaver. For runes, it'll be pretty standard, with Fleet, Overheal, Bloodline, Coup de Grace, followed by Dominion second for Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter. However, for items, it'll get a bit tricky because instead of going Triforce into Essential Reaver or IE, you'll purchase Triforce, Sork Boots, Storm Razor, Rapid Fire Cannon, IE, and Phantom Dancer. This build does so much more damage than the Essence route, but you'll have to be a lot smarter about spending your mana. On top of that, this build doesn't have that extra CDR from the Essence Reaver, so taking blue buffs from your jungler is crucial. Give it a try and let us know how it goes down below. Next up in the mid lane, we have a build for the newly reworked Sylas. It's pretty safe to say that Sylas has been ruined as a champion, but on the bright side, he does a disgusting amount of damage now. This is mainly due to the hotfix buffs he received on January 9th, which increased his damage output by even more than the initial amount. However, one huge problem that Sylas mains are facing is that they just can't land the second part of his Q. Since the E2 plus Q interaction has been removed, players can just walk out of his combo and never get hit by his full burst. But don't worry, the Koreans have come up with another innovative build for him which fixes this issue. For runes, you'll go Conqueror, Triumph, Tenacity, Coup de Grace, followed by Inspiration second for Free Boots and Cosmic Insight. However, for items, you'll rush a Hextech GLP into Sork Boots, Rylai's, Liandry's, Deathcap, and Zanya's. There are a lot of variations with this build, so don't be afraid to change it up a bit. Some players build Proto Belt and GLP, some players skip Rylai's, some go Ludens and GLP. The key takeaway here is to rush the GLP so you can slow them down and guarantee a full combo. Lastly, in the mid lane, we have another build for Sylas. This one is just a slight variation on the one we just mentioned, but with a change up in the runes. Instead of Conqueror, you'll go Glacial Augment, Stopwatch, Biscuits, Cosmic Insight with Taste of Blood and Ingenious Hunter. For items, you'll go Protobelt, GLP, Zanya's, Sork Boots, Deathcap, and a Liandry's. Here's a quick recap of all the builds we mentioned for mid. Now, on to AD carries. First up for ADCs, let's talk about Aphelios. Despite the nerfs made to his kit this patch, Aphelios is still ridiculously broken and holds a 223% ban rate in Korean solo queue. This pretty much means that he's banned on both sides in almost every single game and dodged lobby. However, in those few games where he is left open and nobody dodges, our analysts have been noticing a trend for his items. Usually players will go standard route with Essence into IE, but Korean challenger players have been squeezing in a Storm Razor with this build. So instead of going 2 AD crit items with 2 Zeal crit items, you'll be getting your 100% crit with 3 AD items and 1 Zeal item. For runes, you'll go PTA, Triumph, Bloodline, Coup de Grace, with Inspiration second for Free Boots and Biscuits. For items, you'll go Essence Reaver into IE, Berserkers, Storm Razor, Rapid Fire Cannon, and a Mercurials. Next, we have a build for Ezreal, which we've mentioned before in a previous video, but we want to mention it again this patch. If you've been following our channel for a while, then you should remember our analysts saying that Omnistone Ezreal will become mainstream in a couple of weeks. It turns out that our analysts are almost spot on, and this build has been rising in popularity extremely fast. In the Eastern servers like Korea and China, most pro Ezreal players have been opting to go to this rune, and it's surprisingly strong. For runes, it'll be Omnistone, Boots, Biscuits, Cosmic Insight, with Sorcery second for Mana Flow Band and Transcendence. For items, you'll go Manamune, Ionian Boots, Iceborne, Blade of the Ruined King, Last Whisper, and Mercurials. If you play Ezreal at all, then start abusing this build ASAP before everyone else starts catching on to it. It's seriously a ton of fun and is super powerful. Here's a quick recap of all the builds we mentioned for ADCs. Now, onto supports. First up, we have Nami. So at the start of patch 10.1, Nami received a gigantic buff, which allows her E to apply on the next 3 spells. Most players saw this buff and were thinking, wow, this will be really good on ADCs with a ton of spells like Senna, Lucian, or Aphelios. However, the Koreans thought completely differently and are hardcore spamming mages in the bottom lane. Things like Cassiopeia plus Nami or Ziggs plus Nami are becoming meta, and it's really oppressive. For Cassiopeia, you'll take either Phase Rush or Conqueror depending on the matchup. However, it's usually safer to go Conqueror. Presence of Mind, Tenacity, Coup de Grace, and then Inspiration second for Biscuits and Approach Velocity. In previous cast builds, you would never go approach velocity since that rune is mainly for catching enemies rather than kiting them. However, with this bot lane combo, you're looking to play super aggressive with your spells, and having that extra movement speed is super helpful. For Nami, you'll go Airy, Mana Flow, Transcendence, Scorch, Revitalize, and Bone Plating. Then for items, it'll be Spell Thiefs, Mobies, Shurelya's, Redemption, Athenes, and a Locket. If you opt to go Ziggs instead of Cassio, then you can go Comet, Mana Flow, Trans, Gathering Storm with Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. For items, you can go Ludens into Deathcap, Sork Boots, Lich Bane, Zanya's, and Avoid Staff. Here's a recap of all the support builds. That's going to be it for our OP Korean builds in patch 10.1 video. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please leave a like, comment, and sub to our channel to be notified of our next one. Make sure to check out our website for in-depth content and guides that were made by your favorite pro players. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you out on the Rift.